Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
You know, I was watching one of those reels. It was Facebook or Instagram, and Jamie Harris popped up. And Jamie's been on the podcast a couple of times. Really one of my favorite singers and artists out there. She's just an amazing person. And she was talking about being interviewed a lot. Great songwriter. And she said, Can we retire the question about did the lyrics or the melody come first? And it's asked a lot of different ways. And some interviewers are real creative in how they ask it. I try not to ask that. And Jamie, if you are listening to the podcast, I hope you are. I hope I never asked you that question. But usually I like to hear the stories behind the songs. And that's why we started doing this podcast, you know. And to give recognition to all those hardworking songwriters who don't get as much recognition these days, at least not what they deserve. So, Jamie, thank you for reminding me about that. And I'm going to try not to say, did the lyrics or the melody come first on that? But I like to hear the ideas and how it all came together. And of course, Jamie's one of those ones that have defined her own genre. And I really love artists that do that. And Jamie says it's folk and roll. And I think she's the epitome of it. She is her own thing. Our guest today is kind of the same thing, defines it as rugged acoustic, and it's Ridge Banks, who has done so much in the short time that he's been here in Nashville. It's kind of been a 4-year college degree in Nashville, right?
That's right. Yeah, our buddy Bobby Crop says we have a good graduating class. Yeah, people come in around the same time, and you end up connecting with them and writing songs with them and learning their songs and playing with them, and just the influence of the people around you, you know. And then around that 3 or 4 year mark, we start figuring out what we're kind of doing here.
Define goals.
Exactly. Get sharper, because it's a really big field, and you don't know it all when you get here. Right. There's a lot of delusions when you come to Nashville. Like, you're just going to show up and be a star somehow, right? Everybody feels that way, right? So that's got to wear off for a little bit. Of course, it only takes one touch from God, but probability wise, that's it might take a little while to be in the right place at the right time.
And it's interesting is I don't know no matter how prepared you are, maybe because you did records before you came here, and you had played music all your life, and then you come to Nashville and you see where that is. It intimidating? You see where that bar is? Were you intimidated?
I was just nervous to get on stage. Yeah. You know, I had been in healthcare for 30 years almost, and done presentations for doctors and all that. Yeah. But as soon as I got on stage with my heart open, it was a whole different ball game. And so it's like a real healing process, you know. You really get down to who you are authentically and who you want to be on stage and stuff. So that's part of the thing. Now, I wasn't intimidated because of the way people are here. Like you, Dave, you're one of the first friends that we had here too, and everybody is so open-armed and ready to help you any way that you can. You know, when you're talking about music, how do you say that this music is better than some other music or something? It's all subjective.
It's all music,
and we all have fans, and it's really beautiful to see people see their journey through all of this. You know, you watched them 4 years ago, and now you see them on stage or where they are, and you go, wow, man.
I've kind of watched you. See who you are. Yeah, I've seen you, you know, and how you've grown as an artist in just those 4 years. Yeah. And, you know, Ridge was on this podcast in the very first year. In fact, you were the 7th podcast we ever did.
Nice.
And today we're, if my calculations are right, this is 121. So it's good to have you back.
Absolutely.
When you were on the podcast, that was 400,000 streams ago, and we've changed a lot. Our sound's a lot different, just due to the equipment that we've invested in and the things that we do. It's changed a lot. But you brought part of the Wall of Sound, which is your band.
Yes.
And I remember we had Cajon, we had Micah, and we had David Young, David Young.
That's young David Young. That's right. Still
amazing
young David
guitar
Young.
Player. Yeah.
He is.
But I'm glad you can make it over here and do the solo thing. But the band is still doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to be at the Grinder House in a few days, September 23rd. There might still be some tickets available out at Crossville. It's one of my favorite venues.
That is a cool venue.
Ace and Angela out there, man. And they're so welcoming, and it's such a nice place. So David and Micah, and I've actually got Ted Seidlinger working on the lead guitar with us.
Ted is a great guy.
He is.
He hosts rounds around town, and he's a really good guitar player.
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's really fantastic. He goes all over the country just playing people's songs before he even knows the songs.
And just a really nice guy. Yeah.
He's one of the nicest guys in Nashville, truly.
Yeah. Yeah, he can just pick up a song and just jam. He's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so. In fact, we do a lot of things at Aloft together,
It's a nice little venue here.
It is.
Toward the west end of Nashville.
Yeah, we do a little songwriter thing where he plays lead guitar for us. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so the band is alive and kicking. But, one of the things I've had to learn since I've been here about the band is that everyone's got their own thing going on here, too.
Yeah.
So, David's got his own band, the Interstate Kings, and Micah's working on writing and getting things for
He's the drummer.
He's the drummer, that's guy. Right. And Taylor Took is now my bass player, mainly.
Taylor's
and he does
talent.
Everything. He's an amazing talent.
Yeah, Taylor Borton's band, who's been on the podcast too just a few weeks back.
That's right.
Yeah.
They both play for that. So we all kind of share each other a little bit in that way. And so I never want to stand in the way of somebody else's career.
Yeah.
If the band isn't helping them. So we've got a pretty good group of guys that, it also makes it a little more flexible to book things when you've got a few other people that can play with you and you're not just set to one, just 4 band members or something like that. Yeah. So
I've always heard that if you're going to have a band in this town, you better have some backups.
Yeah, you better have a lot of people. Yeah, it better be a band of 20 different people you can call. If you want to get any gigs, you wait for the right place and they say here's the time, and then nobody can make it.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of gigs, you've been gigging a lot. I mean, from the Wisconsin State Fair
this
to
has
the
been
Grinder
a
House.
Really big month, and now we're doing these things at the Aloft too, and
that's great.
Up at the Southwest Grill. David and I go up there sometimes just across the Kentucky border. So there's been a lot going on. One of the first times I've been outside of Nashville really playing. So
that's good.
It's really exciting. Yeah,
expanding the scope.
That's right. Yeah. Trying to make a little path up the Northwest from Wisconsin to here.
Very good.
Michigan's in there where I grew up, and of course Normal, Illinois is along that way too.
Well, you brought it up. Let's talk about it. And then we'll get back to your story. Normal, Illinois. You were a traveling salesman.
Yeah, I was. I traveled. I was in the dialysis business, and I would travel all over. I put like 1,000 miles on my car sometimes, driving through the Midwest. Wow. And I had a lot of friends there in Chicago and Central Illinois. And every time I went by the town Normal, it made me chuckle.
Normal,
and one time I saw a sign that said, "You're a half a mile from Normal." And I went, man, if that isn't right on the money.
Gotta be a song, right?
Gotta be a song. And I'll bet you it was 10 years later before I actually got to Nashville. And as soon as I heard Greg Wilson sing and play, I thought, that's the guy. Not only do I love him, I think he's one of the best writers in town.
do too.
But his whole style and everything, I thought, man, that's the way this has got to go.
He gets mentioned on this show a lot because
I'll bet he does.
He's just that talented, and everybody
really is.
wants to write with him. And he played. We were all together last night at the Cambria True Music Room. Randy's revival, Randy Driscoll.
Oh my goodness!
And what a fun night! And I talked to him a little bit. And I said, it's about time we get you back on this on this podcast, because we talked a lot about him with Steve Block, who's a big plugger in this town, and Steve had signed their song "Wake Up Call," and we talked a lot about that call and everything. So, Greg,
yes.
We're gonna get you on again, all right? That's right, and we're also gonna write again. But so you teamed up with him, and you presented this idea. What do you say?
I did. It was funny because
and did the lyrics of the music? No.
Well, this time.
I'm kidding.
I don't mind answering that question because I've got like 2 lanes. I got lanes of melody and lanes of ideas.
Yeah.
And so I kind of put them together sometimes.
Okay.
So I'll have something really set up melodically that really sounds cool, and if it matches with something, I'll put it together. So it just kind of depends. And even a buddy of mine, I used to...
Not even 10 minutes into the podcast, and I break my promise.
But that's okay.
Tongue in cheek, though. Are you going to play it or what?
Yeah.
It's a great song, man.
I am going to play it.
Yeah.
All right. So it turned into a murderous trucker song is what this really turned into. And I remember I said, it's a half a mile normal. And I remember Greg saying, and a mile past, I don't care. And I went, oh,
there it is.
Goodness. That's it, man. That's our song.
There it is.
And then, and we did it over COVID too. So it was just before we started it. In the middle, we finished it. So, and then the dynamics came, and he's really amazing at that type of stuff too. So this has turned into probably my favorite song to play. It'll probably make me all sweaty.
Everybody wants to.
Yeah, of course. And it's tuned in Dadgad, which is what. Yeah, that's right. And that's what Greg Wilson uses a lot. Yeah. So I appreciate having to have a different guitar.
And we've talked about how open and different tuning sometimes can get you out of that rut.
Oh, it really can. Yeah, I mean, there's a few songs I have that were Stephen Stills, where they're like every string is E, except the B string.
Yeah,
and it's really wild. Yeah,
Sweet Judy Blues.
4 and 20. He writes that. He plays that way too. I got a lot. Unfortunately, it means I got to bring a few guitars on stage with me. With the wall of sound because it takes too long to tune them. In between. So, but unless you're Joe Bonamassa with 20 incredible guitars. Yeah, just a guitar for every song. Yeah, that was the way I was thinking, but then I didn't think that through. Anyway, this is Half a Mile to Normal. Baby's back to Normal, Illinois, just off Highway 55. Call me out on the roads that you tie, or being a drugger's wife. I said you found yourself a brand new man, ain't no sense in me coming back home. Well, I'm headed that way right now, and with a God, she's not alone. I got the hammer down, I'm in northern bound. Let's see how fast these 18 wheels can roll. Can't even see the cold fly by, the soul bulldog burning up the road. Pray to God, please help me, I don't know just what I'm doing when I get there. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from Normal, and a mile past I don't care. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from Normal, and a mile past I don't care. Driving myself crazy thinking about all those hurtful words you said. Picturing her with another man lying in our bed. Should I beg to take me back, or should I make a new man beg to get away? Well, I was taught to turn the other cheek, but this time it seemed like someone ought to play. I got the hammer down and in northern bound. Let's see how fast these 18 wheels can roll. Can't even see the cold fly by, the soul bulldog burning up the road. Pray to God, please help me, I don't know just what I'm doing when I get there. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from Normal, and a mile past I don't care. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from Normal, and a mile past I don't care. I headed for that Normal city line. Normal's not my state of mind. Headed for that Normal city line. Normal's not my state of mind. Oh, I got the hammer down, I've been northern See how fast these 18 wheels go. Can't even see the cold fly by, the soul bulldog burning up the road. Pray to God, please help me, I don't know just what I'll do when I get there. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from normal and a mile past, I don't care. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from normal and a mile past, I don't care. 'Cause I'm a half a mile from normal and a mile past, I don't care.
Yeah. Ridge Banks on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Mile past, I don't care. Normal, Illinois.
That's
actual
right.
place.
That's an actual place. It sure is.
And that's the new single from that you've got out there.
That's
now.
right. I think it's only been out there about a week and a half. So you can get that on Spotify or any place.
Any place you're streaming them.
music. That's
Yeah.
right. Any
Yeah.
place you're streaming them, it should be there.
Yeah.
And
you
there's
got
a
lots of others out there, too.
there's a great YouTube video of us playing that live, and it's really interesting because this is one of the things that I had to determine. When I started releasing songs here in Nashville. This is the second one I've released since I've been here, and so I'm trying to learn the promotion side of things and the radio side of things. And,
Right.
The original version of this song is over 5.5 minutes.
Wow.
And
It's a jam.
and it's the one
It's a
everybody
jam,
loves.
baby.
It's got leads
Yep.
in it. It's got that whole beginning and the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
end. But being so long, I didn't want it to be held up radio-wise. So I did like a radio edit so that it was under 4 minutes.
Gotcha.
And it could get everywhere, but the video is the full-blown version.
Okay, and that's out there on YouTube?
And that's on YouTube. And I'm going to release the full-blown extended version when I release the album, the Wall of Sound.
And then the
album.
dance version after that.
Yeah, maybe the dance version. And that's right. The Chris Stapleton version and all that.
So that's streaming on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
And so
that's
just search.
That's right. I got my own YouTube channel.
You do?
Just-
Okay.
Yeah, just look for Ridge Banks. So far, I'm the only one. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing. And of course, you've got ridgebanksmusic.com.
That's
too.
right. And yeah, you can go to Ridge Banks Music or ridgebanks.com, and everything is there as well.
I was listening to that song, and I know you and Greg wrote it, and each of you have a little different version of the song.
Oh, yeah.
And have made it your own. And I bring that up because I love both versions.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because it's an interesting point as a songwriter. Sometimes as a songwriter, and I don't want you to fall into this trap. This is why I say this. Some are like, no, you can't change anything about this song.
Right.
We wrote it together. And, whenever I write with an artist, and maybe this is just my philosophy, I don't know, and tell me if you agree. The last thing I always say, we got a good song here. And here's what I want you to do. Make it your own. Make it fit you.
Right.
If you're going to play it out, you have my permission to change anything. It's cool if you ask, but if you don't, that's okay.
Right.
I understand. This has got to be, and as long as my name is on it, I don't care,
Right.
When you register it on your BMI Live, I'm still getting paid whether you change the word or not,
Right.
So, I think sometimes you could hold dear to that. And I remember two examples. Baby I'm Gone. Was my cut with Chancey Williams. He's played on the Opry this year, and he's really coming on strong, and I'm so proud of him and what he's doing in his band. They changed quite a bit in that song.
Yeah.
And at first we were kind of offended, and then I started thinking about it. I go, no, I'm not. And we went to the plugger and we said, they changed some of the words. And she goes, they can't do that. She starts to pick up her phone. I go, no, wait. No boat rocking here.
Right, yeah.
Because I think they did a great job. They made it their own. And I love their version of the song. In fact, I pretty much play it that way now, except I don't have the harmonies and the fiddle and stuff they put in it. And then, there's another song that Greg Matthews, who's been on the show, and everybody loves Greg around town. They call him the mayor.
Yep.
With Zach Hennard, and I all came around this dining room table and wrote a song called Bald Tires, which has been in and around Nashville a lot. All three of us play it differently. Right. It has been recorded 3 times, and each time it's been recorded different. Greg's version, my version, and then a guy named Ben Gerald cut it and turned it from a waltz into a kind of a shuffle 2-step. And so I guess what I'm saying is you can hold yourself back if you go, now you got to do how we wrote it. Right?
That's right. So, it's those walls that you have. It's part of the delusions that you come here with. Yeah. You know what I mean? That there's only one way to do things.
Yeah.
And there's so many ways to do things. In fact, so what happened was we started writing this song and we got to a certain level and I started practicing it one way and he started practicing it another way.
Yeah.
And so he plays it with an alternate chorus at the end. But that alternate chorus, the way I played it with the band, I wanted it to keep driving forward, and I couldn't do it coming with that. So I kept the same chorus. But we still love that. Yeah. Anybody that would be interested in the song would have more options to it either. So I'm pretty open with that. I play, even in my band, I play with whoever I've got. You know, when I was in D.C., I had a full horn band.
Did you really? Horn section?
Yeah, wow. It was like a New Orleans horn band that I stepped into. And so, they were playing the trombones on the dance floor and everything.
It
was awesome. So I got horns in all my first CD has horns in almost every song because that's what I had.
That's awesome.
So it was before the wall of sound really was there. But anyway, so I like having other versions and you know, I'm dyslexic too. So I've been dyslexic all my life and words are very hard for me. In fact, when I'm listening to music, you pretty much have to lull me with the melody for me to take the effort to try to know the words. Unless those words are really in the melody of the chorus or something, I won't remember the words. In fact, sometimes I'll say, Sherry, was that a good song? It sure sounded beautiful. Yeah. You know, so
Sherry, your lovely partner.
Yeah, that's right, Sherry May Carmody. Yeah. So I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that stuff. And I tell people when I'm singing, there might be when I start to express it, there may be ways of saying things that will help me remember the words. Yeah. And I might have to switch them around so that they come out a little bit naturally. So I try to write with people that are a little flexible in that way. And Greg's awesome because we could pretty much do whatever we wanted to do. And a lot of the dynamics I got from him with the way he was playing the songs. So it was just a great experience.
So we learn. As we co-write, we learn.
That's right. We totally learn how to do it. And in fact, I was, although I had a couple buddies that I write with, co-writing is something that was
hard for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to do that. And especially since I don't just say, let's go co-write and spend the day. I'd like to have an idea that we have in common or a song or something that we have so that we can do just a little bit of work before we just put ourselves on the spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, some people are just so good they can just sit and write and do all that right there.
Yeah,
and I guess I'm getting better at that. But I like to put a little bit of work into something before I get there. You know, sometimes. And then sometimes things just happen.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes you got to grind it out, though.
But it's such a wonderful experience. It's probably the best experience of Nashville. It's the one thing that you can't go somewhere else and do. And that is, you know, come over to people's houses and see how they live and write music with them and see how their, you know, the way their heart is. You know, we always call this the city of bro love for sure because men know how to talk about their hearts. We're singing about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of the things I love so much about this place.
And that's the thing about co-writing too. And we talked a lot about how it's done, you know, co-writing. There's still some solo writes that happen, but the nice thing about that is I think it really helps develop friendships too, because you can't be in the same room and open your heart like that without developing these deep friendships.
That's right. Sometimes I'm like, well, do I even want to say your name up there?
Yeah.
Do I like you? You know, we're friends in that way. But that's what's beautiful. You walk in and you see when your buddy's saying your name, or you get to say their name on stage, or
it's cool.
You know, just like last night at the Cambria, we all knew each other's songs and singing harmonies, and everybody's jumping up there. Man, that's just the Nashville magic.
Adding harmonies in.
All
absolutely.
that.
Yeah. That is the Nashville magic.
It is.
Yeah.
That is the magic of Nashville.
And when you come to town, find a place like that so you can watch the song.
That's right. Because, I mean, life's about relationships, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't ask people how they're doing. I ask how your relationships. That normally defines
That's why we
your
call
happiness, right?
That's why we call it the Songwriter Connection. You know, we publish every Wednesday early in the morning Central Time, so that when you get up, you have a cup of coffee, make a new connection. And today we're connecting with Ridgebanks. When we come back, the story behind the song before this one that was released, and it's a good story. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Ridgebanks, I know you've been all over the country, but you grew up in, was it Fenton?
Yeah, Fenton, Michigan.
Michigan. It's about an hour northwest of Detroit?
Yeah, about that.
Up 75, a little bit?
Right up there. Yep,
Lions fan then? You're getting into football season.
I tried to be.
Well, I can identify because I grew up in Cleveland. I'm still a Browns fan, and I think we're the only two teams that have never been to the Super Bowl, aren't we? I
could be.
You can check that, but I think that's right. And wouldn't that be a dream? Browns and the Lions in the Super Bowl someday. Someday it's got to happen, right? You would think. So but you moved here from Washington D.C. Right?
I did. That's where I was for probably 10 years before I got here, and I hooked up with a buddy of mine, Tom Stanton, and he was a writer and I was a melody guy. That's how we all started.
Really?
So yep. And 18152 was one of the first songs that we wrote about.
You did that on our first podcast.
Right.
Great song.
About him getting cancer in his 30s, which really was the turning point in trying to find some value in his life and what he was doing. And I realized what a great writer he was, and we started putting our songs together. And I thought, man, this is really awesome. So we still kept our main job, but 3 days a week we'd be in the studio writing our songs and getting all ready. And then when I had a transition in my job, I couldn't stop the calling anymore. It was getting to the point where I couldn't even go see live concerts because my Holy Spirit would be like, you're supposed to be up there. Yeah. And so sooner or later, you gotta do what you were called to do. Yeah. And so. We had a head start. We had a head start a little bit. I just released a CD before I came out here, and now I realize it's probably a lot more, probably better promotionally wise to release singles for a while until you get your,
that's
get
what
enough
they say
of them.
to do.
And that's what I've been learning about is the promotion side of things and getting these out to the radio stations and Spotify playlisting.
Oh, it's so important. Yeah,
all of that stuff. And if you don't do all that stuff, it's amazing how people don't hear your music. And I don't know if this is true, but I did hear that like Kelsey Ballerini, they put in like 11 million into promoting her last number one hit song. So there's the range, of how much money you can spend on getting this thing heard.
From $11 to $11 million.
That's right. There's your range. And hopefully you can pick something in there that can really
and
get it somewhere and boost.
Has got a lot to do with it. And you're very good at that. Yeah.
I try to be.
As a matter of fact, just come up with playlists and stuff. You had a hit in Brazil.
Oh, yeah. Brazil was, and I don't know if I told you this, but there's a radio station, 107 Galaxy in New Zealand that, I do my promotion of radio through a guy named Stephen Foster.
Yep, me too. Great guy.
I know, he's a great guy and does a great job there too and has his own stuff. And he's the one that introduced, I guess, them or me to them, and they didn't just take Beautiful Mistake, they took like 6 or 7 of my songs and started playing them all over New Zealand.
That's great.
And it was 18152 that had 4,000 so far requests. Whoa. So I just sent them half a mile to normal. So
they're gonna love that.
I bet you they're gonna love that.
Oh, they're gonna love that. They'll get you on, interview you again.
That's right. It'll be fun.
I think I was going to talk Beautiful Mistake, and I think we're going to save this because now I want to hear 18152.
All right, good.
And you started the story. He was on dialysis. He was in
chemo?
He
wasn't on dialysis. He had cancer that is now alive and thriving and still writing music with me. He's a
good
survivor. All that. It was
does he come to town?
It was a hard time. Yeah, he does.
I want to meet him next time.
He comes to town. I think he's going to be here maybe sometime early next year, maybe. So I'm hoping that. I can get him out here and introduce him to everybody.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It would.
I love that.
It would be It would be really cool.
And so
But he came home one day and he said, "Man, I can't believe I this is a silly idea, but I feel like a prisoner when I'm doing my treatments, and all I can really do is, I don't feel very good, so all I can do is stare at this part number that's kind of in my face. Must have been on a machine or something." That part number was 18152.
Wow.
And so it really was the same time that I realized that Johnny Cash didn't do any time in Folsom Prison. So I'm like,
did a concert
I think
there,
I need a prison. Yeah, he did a concert there.
But he wasn't behind bars.
Yeah, that's right. But he wasn't behind bars, and I always thought for some reason he was, because I heard that song. And I thought, well, I think I need a prison song to come to Nashville. But anyway, it does seem to be a song that people like a lot.
It is, yes. I remember first time hearing it being blown away. And I also remember being with Dusty, who used to own the Broken Spoke. We call him the Ribs King of Nashville.
Oh, yeah. He makes the best ribs there are.
He really does.
And he's a really good friend.
Loves these songs. Dusty, hey, man. Love you, bro.
I'm prisoner, wanted 152, behind bars for something that I didn't do. Kept my nose clean for 9 out of 10. Now I'm stuck in a hole, never see light again. I'm prisoner, wanted 152, traded in hope for a new attitude. Empathy's gone, there's darkness instead. No life in these eyes, they're already dead. Never was a sinner, now I laugh at the saints. Can only swallow so much pride before my conscience breaks. The deep calm of the dark within keep me warm at night, and my only friend. Just killed a man for stealing my food. No time for shame, it's what I had to do. Man's gotta choose between pride and pain. Never look back and always live with a stain. If you see me coming, you better run and hide. No longer a man, I'm an animal inside. Not responsible for what I do, I'm just prisoner, wanted 152. Wanted 152. Never was a sinner, now I laugh at the saints. Can only swallow so much pride before my conscience breaks. The deep calm of the dark within keep me warm at night, and my only friend. I used to have a name, those days are through. I'm just prisoner, wanted 152.
18152. Ridgebanks. Solo with us around the dining room table at the podcast, the Songwriter Connection Pod.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we thank you for tuning in. If you're listening on the YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button, because that helps. Number songs,
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that is, I think it's got hit quality, and it might be one of those numbers that will stick in people's heads, 18152. And I think about, remember in the 80s, I keep thinking about Tommy Two Tone's 867-5309.
Oh, yeah.
There's a number
that. That's right.
People will never forget because of that song. And hopefully the same thing happens for this.
Yeah, and a lot of people do know that number. In fact, it was funny because my roommate at the time said, who was also a writer, his name is Andy Valente, he's out there. And he said, that's too many numbers. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you, right. I mean, normally I would say yes, but at that point we were convinced of the story. We wanted the truth to be in there.
Right.
So sometimes that's another one of those things with songs. Do you want it to be? Does it need to be accurate? And maybe in some cases it does.
Never let the truth get in the way, right?
Never let the truth stand in the way of a good story. That's right. So sometimes, you can tweak something and make it more relatable to people. I've got a song that says coffee brown hair, just a touch of cream. And half the girls go, oh, it's not me. And I thought, wow, I never thought of that. And so I think that's a lot of times why Bluebird and all those guys, they always say to be as general as you can so that you don't, peg it.
But, I think sometimes it's important to get specific.
I do too.
Because it depends how you're relating it, I guess.
Yeah, and how you're telling the story and the purpose of the song,
I read a book by Bobby Braddock, who's always been one of my favorite writers, and he talked about how important it is to be specific. Carrie Kurt Phillips is another mentor of mine, a guy I really love, big songwriter, and said the same thing. If you can be specific, sometimes people can pin a memory on that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But if it doesn't disqualify other people, you know what I'm saying?
I do. It's a double-edged
art.
Yeah,
right, yeah,
that's the art. You're right.
It is.
ART, art. 867-5309. 18152. We got hooked this year on the TV show Suits, and it's streaming on Netflix. The first 8 seasons, and you can get the 9th season if you do the Prime. And I say this because it's a great series, and if you don't want to be up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning binging, don't watch it because that's one of those shows that will do it. But the reason why I say that is because they do a lot of reference to other movies and songs and stuff. They're always playing around, and there is a whole season where one of the main characters is in jail, and his cellmate, his number on his shirt is 867-530. They left
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting piece of trivia. So if you're watching that,
that is funny.
See if you notice that. So, hey, maybe 18152 will pop up somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe I get to go play it for those guys in New Zealand.
There you go. The New Zealand tour.
They are fun out there.
Yeah. The New Zealand. Hey, you need an opening act. I know this guy. Thanks for being on our show today, Rich. You're doing so many magical things. You know, the Grinder House, you're going to be there Saturday night.
It's Saturday night.
And it's a full band show.
23rd. Yeah, it's a full band show.
Wow.
In fact, for some of these little ones, Micah just brings in a small drum. Yeah, the drummer just brings in his cajon and a few other percussions, and it should be a great show.
I've never been to the Grinder House, but it's got quite a reputation. It's in Crossville, Tennessee.
It's in Crossville, Tennessee.
About an hour and a half east.
Kind of in the mountains. Oh man, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it really starts getting beautiful over there.
It really
and it's
does.
a quaint little town.
And from what I understand, I've never been there, but when I understand, it's like a Bluebird type event.
Oh, yeah,
for
sure. They want to hear all of your stories.
Okay.
They want to hear that. I mean, if you could talk as much as you could play, and they would be happy.
See, that's the kind of
it's just like the heart of the place is unbelievable. They have incredible food. Asa and Angela, the guys.
Asa and Angela?
Yeah, that's right.
They're the owners?
They're the owners. And they just do a wonderful job there. And, there's really cool seating, and like lounge chairs.
I understand,
couches and stuff. It's really
pay a little extra to sit in the couch.
They've got 3 or 4 cameras on you the whole time. So, like, the video of it is quite magical, too. And
do they stream that?
They do. They stream that. So, if for some reason you can't get out to Crossville, you could live stream it as well. And I'll probably post it after that, too, because it's just a beautiful... and they have great talent coming through there. And so
all the time.
I did one solo show there. And they were like, you got to bring the band back.
Awesome.
So
that is really good.
Excited about it.
Congratulations.
It's one of my favorite places.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
When you first got to town, you were playing, I remember the story, you were playing at Pop Attorney's.
That's right.
Which is a cool
blues place.
Blues.
Yeah, he's a great blues player, actually, Mike Turney.
It's just off of Percy Priest Lake, not too far from where I live, and great barbecue, and a neat little place.
It is.
And you were there doing a writer's thing?
Yeah, it was actually a real guitar pull. We had one guitar, and we were passing that around.
Pulling from the next guy.
They had a wireless connection, so you could still hear it.
Oh, okay.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I think we passed around somebody's new Martin.
Oh.
And so we were playing all that, and there was a guy behind me. His name was Roy August, who came up and said, "Man, I just love your music." And I gave him a CD.
Folks. Big hits.
Yeah, you should be. He wrote. He's had over 800 indie cuts.
Isn't that something?
And
but some big hits too.
Yeah.
Sitting Fancy Free.
Yeah, Feeling Fancy Free. That was their number one.
With Jimbo Henson. Yeah.
Yep. And so I didn't know all that at the time. I just gave him a CD and thought he was a nice man. And then he called
never know who you're talking to in this town.
That's another reason why I think it's so friendly.
Yeah.
Because the further you get, the more modest people are. So it can just be somebody hanging out at the grocery store that could change your life, maybe, if they liked your music or something, Right. So anyway, it's just the way I treat people anyway. But I gave him a CD, and a couple days later, he called me and said, "Man, I just like the vibe," and we just started talking. And it's funny because one of my buddies told me, "This is how you're going to write a song in Nashville." When I got here, and it turned out to be just like that. We talked for about 2.5 hours, and then at the end, I said, "You mean like a beautiful mistake?" And he says, "That's it. That's the song, right?" And he's like, "I got all the words in my head right now." I mean, he's amazing. He must write 4 or 5 songs a day.
Oh my
still.
God. Yeah.
And we released Beautiful Mistake on his 80th birthday.
Did you really?
And, at the Commodore Grill.
What a cool birthday gift.
So that's right. He was on stage with me, and it was just awesome. Or I was on stage with him, is what I should say. Wow. And so we have become really good friends. We're writing some more songs together.
Good, you should. What a combination.
And he's just a wonderful friend, too. He helps me, with my career anywhere he can.
That's good.
And so
it's good to have
anyway, after he wrote this, we finagled a few of the words here and there, and the way he wrote it in syntax and everything, I could tell the way he wanted me to sing it. I could tell kind of a melody. I could tell the timing of how he put things together. So I just started playing that song. I think it was a Disney song. That was a Frozen song that went way up high, that I thought, that would be beautiful to have a song like that. And then his song came in. Wow. So our influences, sometimes you don't even know, but that's how I came up with that falsetto part of it. And then the next day I sent him the melody, and it only took that long, and we were ready to roll. Wow. And I started playing it. But it takes me a few months to get it to where I want it to, and then to get it on stage and all of that. So that's the type of stuff that's been cutting down. Now that you've been in Nashville for a while, you can
learn how to do
stuff
it
a little bit
and
quicker.
adapt it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, you got to play it for us.
Yes,
it's a great
absolutely.
song. Love it. And
this one's called Beautiful Mistake.
Beautiful Mistake. Rich Banks.
Became hypnotized by a smiling name, sparkle in her eyes and perfect frame. Was a right girl to give my heart a shake, 'cause I fell in love with a beautiful mistake. Got love crazy going on, and I am heartbroken, trying to mend misread her actions. Her love was fake when I fell in love with a beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake. Sometimes I believe mistakes were made for me. My judgment error, pretty as can be. Losing your love is all that I can take. 'cause I fell in love with a beautiful mistake. Got love crazy, going all in. Now I am all broken, trying to mend. Misread her actions, her love was fake. When I fell in love with a beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake. Everything on the line. Beautiful mistake. Faults all mine. Gamble on a feeling. I knew the stakes when I fell in love with a beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake. Blinded by a dream, slipping away. It all went south at the end of the day. Spot on to get to the love we'd make when I fell in love with a beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake. Beautiful mistake.
Isn't that beautiful? That is just beautiful. Ridge Banks, beautiful mistake on our Songwriter Connection podcast. You know, we had a chance to chat last night at the True Music Room yesterday, and you said one of the things I want to talk about on the podcast, and I can't let you leave unless you do, is about the things I've learned in this 4-year degree in Nashville that you thought would help other writers. And, so tell us some of those things.
Yeah, and we've been going through some of those, like just, whether you want to promote things, promotion's such a big deal, whether you want to promote something radio-wise, whether you want to promote something on Spotify, whether you want to promote your, your YouTube videos, things like that. Are they radio ready? You know what I'm saying? If it goes to the top, can it get to the top? And some of the things, when I got here, I was doing some of my own recording, and I realized that I just wasn't as good as an engineer would be, and I'm never going to be that good. And so the amount of time it took me to do something that I can just walk down the street to my studio and do in a half hour and know that it's perfect and radio ready, it made me step out of that lane and not have a studio with all that stuff that I need to record with and go towards a lane. There's a lot of lanes here, and you can be in the artist lane, you can just be in the songwriter, you can be in the sync lane. We've got guys that are doing great things, Bill Hanlon and Bobby Kropp. Those guys are great on the sync side of things, but
and we talk about sync again. We're talking about for movies and TV and
placement of your songs somewhere else. But there's a lot of difference in that. If you're an artist like I am, when I release a song, I'm doing it through maybe CD Baby. You can do it through DistroKid or whatever, and I give them some of my publishing so that they will register that in all the different countries. So when you say you want them to promote it, you're really giving them some of your publishing. And so one of the things like Taxi, you can be in Taxi, but for the songs that I've already done that with, that kind of disqualifies them from the sync part of things. So you really got to kind of know what you're doing with the songs too, because I want them all over, because I want to tour all over, and I want people in other parts in the country and other countries to hear my songs. But if I'm trying to get them placed or something, I won't do that same thing with the song. I'll keep that publishing, because oftentimes that they want that. So I've even stepped away from the Taxi side of things, and some of the people that have told me they've been very successful. They normally have a group of people, and one of those person is a sound engineer that can change things on the spot. Oh, this would be a great song if it had a banjo. Boom, it's got a banjo, and now it's in there. So you got to kind of have that flexibility. So I've even talked about developing a group like that and stuff, and and just the personal things about being on stage and working out, what your show is going to be, and There's so many things to learn here. It feels like a startup company with 10 open jobs.
So it sounds like, what you've learned to do is many lanes to focus on down to one or two of your strengths, right?
Exactly. And what do you really need? So since I've been here, I built a website. I got my logo, built an online store.
Yeah, merch is available.
Merch is available on ridgebanks.com. I got everything from mouse pads to cups to shirts and all kinds of cool stuff. So that's cool. Really fun. And this stuff's way outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
You can't afford to pay everybody to do this. And,
no, you can't.
And truthfully, David Young had already built his website on Wix, and I knew if I got stuck, he'd help me, and he did. So, that's how we all help each other out here. And so you make sure that, you're really developing your brand. Is really what you're doing.
You are.
And you don't know which songs of your own are good until you get here. Mm-hmm. And I guess you don't have to live up to the level, that bar that the songwriters hold. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be great if all your songs weren't just dynamic and great, but for the words section, you don't even have to tell a story, and the song holds up to its own. And so it's really amazing. It's neat. It's a really cool place. And you play in front
of a live audience like that, you find out.
Oh yeah. I mean, like,
are they picking up their phones? Are they talking?
That's right. What do people come up and say? Ooh, I like that song. Or I've even got healing songs that sometimes I'll play with triggers in them, and somebody will come and tell me their story, which is always like
that's so
gold.
Cool. It is
honestly,
like gold.
Yeah.
I say payday. That's payday.
That's right. When I've inspired you to open up to something, let the light in. That's like
really
beautiful stuff. It is.
That's why we do it.
That's right. And so you don't really know. You don't know your songs. It's so hard to know. Yeah. You don't know anybody else's. You don't know until somebody tells you. Yeah. Enough people tell you that that's great. Mm. Or you just know that every song, it's somebody's favorite.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
Yeah. So...
Yeah. Well, how about we play one more, take us out today on the Songwriter Connection podcast. And again, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to play for us?
I think I want to play Hero.
Hero?
Maybe.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
This is going to be probably my next release. Mm-hmm. And it started as my buddy Tom's favorite poem. And we tweaked it and messed with it and did all kinds of stuff to make this song. And truthfully, it was called Preamble, which I thought was... a little too foofy of a word. And then when I got here, it became like one of my true, motto songs, because my whole life I knew I was supposed to be on stage. I knew since a kid, since walking around in my foam cowboy hat, playing shows for people when I was 8.
Wow.
But then life happens, and I had a lot of abuse in my life, so I put my voice down and my guitar down for a long time, but I always knew this is where I was supposed to be. So this song, Hero, I believe there's a hero in all of us, and that is that authentic person that God has made you to be. And I feel like that's what I'm learning about myself here, and why I love this song so much. People tell me it's my Sting song. Sounds like Sting. And he didn't have a big influence, although I love him, but I can kind of see how they think that. Anyway, this one's called Hero. Oh, my life so far is just a preamble, a hero's tale yet to be told. My skies become my teacher, lessons more valuable than gold. I know that patience is a virtue, but mine is wearing pretty thin. I'm ready to claim my treasure, slay the dragons. I'm ready for my time to begin. I know the hero inside me. He yearns to break free and redefine me. Looking for the path that eludes me. I need the world to show me what my eyes can't see. 'Cause a hero inside me dreams I can't breathe. Why won't you release me? Try to write the words of my story, but my mind skips forward to the end. I'm ready to claim my treasure, slay the dragons. I'm ready for my time to begin. I know the hero inside me. He yearns to break free and redefine me. Looking for the path that eludes me. I need the world to show me what my eyes can't see. Read on, turn the page, persevere, lean into your fears. Tomorrow's a brand new day, and let the hero inside you find the light and shine through and redefine you. You'll find the path that rings true when you see the world from a hero's point of view.
Wow. Rich Banks got a great message. Really does.
It does.
Yeah. Keep slaying those dragons, my friend.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks for being on our show today.
Thank you, man.
I'm looking at future guests coming up. Addie Levy, who we met at the Songwriter shows in Gatlinburg last year, is going to be our guest. Newly moved to Nashville, can play about every stringed instrument. She's just a wonderful person. And I'm very excited about having you connect with her on this show. Pete Salas is going to be here.
Nice.
Week following that. He's a great songwriter in this town. He's had some hits as well. I'm very excited to meet and talk with Cindy Alter. And let me tell you, she's recently moved to Nashville, but she's from South Africa. And she was in this band. Look them up. And they were called Clout. And they had this international hit, huge hit called Substitute. And I'll bet you might have heard it. It was, like I said, worldwide hit. And Cindy fronted that band, and we're going to talk about that song and what she's up to these days. We've got Craig Monday coming up. He's had a big #1 with Kenny Chesney. And Donna Frost, who's got 2 songs on the charts right now. One is gospel on the gospel charts. One's on the folk charts. So we're going to get to know her. We've got Kyle Whitaker coming up. 3 of Hearts, and that's Randy Driscoll and Kim McLean and Eve Sellis. They're amazing. Going to be on the future podcast here. And Kim, we've tried to get her on earlier, but some difficulties. She lost her mom, but she's the one that wrote the book with Loretta Lynn that we'll talk about. All of that stuff coming up on future Songwriter Connection podcast. Again, thank you for listening. I almost said tuning in because I'm still used to the radio days. Thanks for the download and listening, and we'll catch you next time. All right? Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.